First of all, the abortion debate isn't really about life, it's about human life. We're okay with killing life, even vegans, since plants are alive, even the bad plants, like the chayote. Just look at that piece of plant. It looks like Shrek's ball sack. F you, chayote, I hate you. Anyway, the non religious moral issue is killing a person. So, what's a person? Is it an egg that the uterus sheds and lets die naturally all the time? Is it the sperm that most often ends up dying in a sock? Or, if there's time, a slightly heated gourd? Is it the moment the sperm grazes against the egg zona peculidae? Or is it when the sperm is halfway nestled into the egg's membrane? Is it before or after the acrosome reaction when the sperm's head melts and releases its genetic information? Is it the zygote, a single cell full of the sperm and egg's DNA? Is it turning the first stage of meiosis? Or is it when the cell begins mitosis? Is it when the blastocyst forms, this charming little cutie? Or is it when the embryo develops a mouth hole at 4 weeks? Or maybe it's when it starts to look like this instead, which is the dog fetus at 4 weeks. But hey now, maybe we shouldn't base this on looks, but rather on whether it's got a human brain. The brain, by week 6, can start to have electrical activity, but it's less complicated than a shrimp's brain. By week 10, the cerebrum has started to develop, which begins very, very smooth, similar to a reptile's dumb, delicious brain. But at this point, the fetus remains unresponsive to stimuli. So, okay then, I don't know. Is it a person by week 13 when the fetus can start to move, but its brain is smaller and less developed than a rabbit's brain, continues to lack sentience or respond to anything in a purposeful way, and has activity similar to a sea slug? By now, we've actually moved past the point of when 92% of abortions take place. At 14 to 20 weeks, only 6% of abortions are performed. At 23 weeks, the fetus's brain is considered viable and the fetus can respond to stimuli, but by 21 weeks, fewer than 1% of abortions are performed, and surveys of people who have had these performed either report discovering a fetal health anomaly, discovering a health risk to themselves, or were unable to access abortion before 21 weeks, either due to financial or legal barriers, or minors being afraid of their parents, or victims of domestic violence afraid of their partners. So, is the 21-week-old fetus a person? Should we force women to give birth to their 21-week-old fetus, even if it threatens their life? Should we force people to give birth if their fetus has severe health issues that would quickly kill the fetus, or if they would be born without a brain? Do we force children to give birth because they hid it from their parents for too long? But hey now, these are all very realistic, heartbreaking hypothetical questions. We should get a little wackier with it. A little fun, a little funky. Do we have an example of some kind of impossible, outlandish situation? Something that doesn't happen, maybe. Maybe we can create some kind of dip AI to perfectly craft the single worst take on... Oh boy. Okay, never mind. That's perfect. Thank you, Tim, you scabby little ingrown hair, you.
And I'm just going to say it. Look, first and foremost, you guys, you know that I lean pro-choice on this issue. And I'll explain in great detail as we get into all this stuff. But I certainly don't lean in the direction of where the modern left has gone because they're outright pro-abortion. But I can say this definitively. The pro-life stance is a strong moral stance. The pro-choice stance is not.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't realize you were pro-choice. Unlike the left, who you claim is pro-abortion. I mean, you're right. We do love abortion. That's our thing, babe. That's what we're doing out there, constantly protesting in front of OBGYN clinics. I personally push on every baby bump I see. Hard. We hate babies, you know? Tim is so pro choice that he claims there's no strong moral stance to keep abortion safe and available. Besides the health and freedom of the mother, I guess. I guess that doesn't count, Tim? Tim is so pro choice that when the Roe v. Wade news first broke, his entire studio exploded in celebration like they were watching the moon landing.
Oh my
What is
goodness.
going on here?
Thank
Supreme
you,
Court
thank you,
has
God.
voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. Justice Alito writes, initial majority draft circulated inside the court. Oh my, whoa, this is nuts.
Anyway, back to Tim's tweet, which asks, what happens if a woman is on the way to get an abortion at 8 months but goes into labor in the lobby of the abortion clinic and accidentally delivers the baby before it could be terminated? Oh gosh, I don't know. I guess the doctors could take a legally acquired AR-15 and shoot the baby, because our country loves shooting babies. But the actual answer to this, not that Tim Pool is actually interested, is that as soon as it has left her body, she can't terminate it because the fetus is no longer in her body. And hey, also, this never happens. The only situation even remotely close to this is if the pregnancy has to be induced early due to a deadly situation for the mother, such as preeclampsia. If the fetus is born alive, doctors do not kill it, but it is up to the family if they should try to resuscitate the extremely premature baby or give the premature baby palliative care until it dies naturally. Now, this is often a very painful decision for the parents who may have to choose between limiting the premature baby's pain or trying to resuscitate it, even if it's unlikely or impossible that it will survive. There are bills called Born Alive Abortion Survivors that would force doctors to continually resuscitate babies born prematurely, even those with abnormalities that are incompatible with life, meaning that the baby will not survive, even if it's against the parents' wishes. This means potentially forcing a doomed baby through painful procedures until it finally dies. There are whole ethics debates in neonatology about whether persistently resuscitating likely unviable newborns is actually moral, given the high chance of death and potential suffering. It's controversial, so maybe it should be left up to the doctors and patients, just like we leave end-of-life decisions up to doctors and next of kin should the person be unable to communicate. Seems like there's a big moral stance here concerning the right for people to make these extremely difficult choices, But in this country, we have decided that your right to your own body always supersedes someone else's right to use your body, except for pregnancy. That's kind of weird, right? We don't require forced blood and organ donations even after someone's died and is no longer using their body. But if babies are going to be the one exception, why is it only uterus havers who have to give up their bodily autonomy if they have sex? Because currently we don't even force actual parents to donate blood or bone marrow to their already born children if they need it to survive. But a pregnant person has an obligation to the fetus that we don't require of anyone else. Mandatory organ donation isn't a thing. We also don't ban men from having sex after a certain age, even though men over 40 years old are 23% more likely to cause a miscarriage. And the sperm of men over 45 are 74% more likely than younger men to cause a miscarriage. Also, it has that old sperm vibe, like a dusty car. So, should old sperm be illegal? Should we sterilize old testicles? If that sounds like a grotesque violation of our men's bodily autonomy, you are correct! Just like what we're doing now to women. And if life begins at conception, as so many Republicans suggest, should we make it illegal for people to drink or smoke or eat sushi after sex, just in case? But even things like working long hours or accidental falls can cause a miscarriage. So, if a company overworks someone who's pregnant, are they liable for murder charges? If a woman trips and falls and it ends in a miscarriage, is she tried for involuntary manslaughter? Do we want to live in a society of forced organ donation, treating every pregnant person as a potential criminal if they run too fast or eat sushi before they know they're pregnant, and chopping everyone's balls off after 45 years of age, 'cause I'm ready, folks! I am ready! I got my organ harvesters and clamps and castration wrenches good to go. Bought 'em years ago, and they're just collecting dust. Or, option 2. Maybe we should be in charge of our own bodies. Seems like that's a pretty clear moral stance to me.
Hey, thanks for watching that clip. Here's the evergreen end plate to ask you to like and subscribe. It's any day of the year where you are.